Speaking of winners, this guy's on the Mount Rushmore of Around the Horn. Great hair, great columnist. He's Tim Cowlishaw. And in that order, by the way, great hair, great columnist. Tim Cowlishaw, Dallas Morning News and Around the Horn. Hi, Tim.
The important thing is he led with the hair.
Yes.
I mean, that's the key in television, is it not?
Yeah, and
Are you not the living embodiment of that?
I'd like to think so. Absolutely. I give more thought to my hair than I do the content of this program.
Certainly.
What is the local reaction to Jerry Jones fighting the commissioner, fighting the league, and fighting for Ezekiel Elliott?
I think people are on his side in terms of, is there some way to take down the evil Goodell? Go get him, Jerry. That sort of attitude. Beyond that, I don't think there's really much of an understanding, because he hasn't said anything publicly about what he's doing or why he's doing it. So there's a lot of guesswork involved. Now, clearly, this is some kind of reaction to what happened with Zeke, and he tries to pretend it's not.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, it is. So let's just establish that it is. And my thought is, Jerry's right about the contract. Why pay the guy $49 million? I mean, who are you negotiating against? I get that part, but I don't get going to war, relatively speaking, suing owners, hiring high-powered attorneys to do all that over that. I would think that sounds more like something you do when you're trying to take it up a notch and get somebody eventually out of office.
Ezekiel Elliott, if he'd have taken this suspension at the start of the season, how would he have been viewed as far as in the court of public opinion if he did it without any fight?
Well, I mean, that's a fair question, and that's the only thing. I mean, I wrote and I said I think he should take the suspension at the start of the season, take the 6 games, get this behind him. Don't drag it on. We had the Brady scenario. It could go into 2018. Don't just be the running back who's going after the league for 2 years of your career, and acknowledge. And I said, just say the things they said in their release yesterday was pretty much what I said. Say this is not an admission of guilt. We don't agree with this, but for the good of me, good of the team, good of everybody involved, we're gonna go ahead and the fact we're not going to win because it's stacked against us. We're going to go ahead and take this penalty. And from a team standpoint, I don't think they would have gone worse than 3-3 without him, which is what they went with him. And they would have had a better structure in terms of, all right, we're not going to have our guy for 6 games, but then we'll have him for the last 10. Instead, they had this up and down. Is he going to be here? Is he not? They lost him 2 days before the Falcons game, and they played a terrible game in Atlanta. And now you don't have him for the stretch run until there's 2 games left to go. But your point is good in that if he doesn't fight it at all, does it look like an admission of guilt?
Yeah.
And I guess if you're in that position, you feel like I've got to fight this for a while.
We're talking to Tim Cowlishaw, Dallas Morning News, and, of course, the star of Around the Horn. When you start to look, and now we've almost itemized this with the Cowboys, like who's the most valuable Cowboy? Is it Sean Lee? Is it Ezekiel Elliott? Is it Dak Prescott? Or is it Tyron Smith? I'm starting to think it's a left tackle. That Smith, Smith. I don't care what anybody else does. If you can't block the guy and he's going to get to the quarterback and disrupt everything, he might be more valuable than all these Cowboys. Is he going to play against the Eagles?
They think he might. Sean Lee will not. Obviously, Zeke will not. But you're right. I mean, watching that game Sunday, Tyron Smith went from maybe 5 or 6 on everybody's list right to number 1.
Yeah.
Because 6 sacks, and it's not 6 sacks from J.J. Watt or Khalil Mack. It's a guy who had 2 sacks in the first 8 games and was a fairly inexpensive free agent signing in the offseason. So, yeah, I mean, they got to have him. That was a disaster. And here's the question, though. I have one for you. They play Philadelphia Sunday. All right, Cowboys would like to think that's a big game, but realistically, aren't the Cowboys trying to make the wild card? They got to play again in 4 days. They got to play Joey Bosa on Thursday. Do you save Tyron Smith, kind of not punt this game, but acknowledge they have 3 winnable games after this? Chargers at home, Redskins at home, at the Giants. They need to win all 3 of those games. there's already kind of an assumption they may not win Sunday night. And that's a Sunday night to Thursday afternoon turnaround for a guy with a bad back and a bad groin.
Will the Cowboys make the playoffs?
I would say right now, no. I do think they have a chance because but you got to get to 10-6. You can't sneak in at 9-7.
Yeah.
If you look at Carolina at 7-3, and you look at Seattle at 6-3, although Seattle's beat the hell. Then you got some good 5-4 teams, and you know about the Lions with their easy schedule. So you got to get to 10-6, and this team is probably going to be 5-5 after Sunday night. So 30%, maybe 25% chance they make it.
I'm still fascinated with Jerry Jones. I think that the league was an enabler with him. They allowed him to do a lot of things because he made some things happen. And now all of a sudden you say to Jerry, hey, you're not running this league. And Jerry's probably saying right back to him, I have been, right?
They weren't just an enabler. They put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this. And I've told you before that, they put him in the Hall of Fame for making money. It's a very odd thing to put somebody in the Hall of Fame for. You made rich guys just filthy richer. Way to go. He's not going quietly at 75, and with a gold jacket, he's not going to just go off into the sunset. So it's hard to – that's why I think – this can't just be simply, I don't like the looks of Roger Goodell's contract. It needs to be more incentive-based. I think that's a starting point, and I think he's ready for a bigger fight than that.
Is he good for the Cowboys?
Jerry?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I've always, yes, in an entertainment way, it's very hard to say he is.
No, that's not a ringing endorsement, Tim.
Well, this is their 22nd straight year without going to the NFC Championship, if that happens, and it looks like that happens.
Okay.
And, we can all say he was the GM when Jimmy Johnson was here, but we all know that's crap. And that's been a constant stain. You look at the winningest teams of the decade of the century, they're not in the top 10. They're not. There's nothing great about the team except the brand. Now, if you want to give him credit for the brand and the stadium and all that, he plays a big part in that. And they're the most talked about 5-4 team in the league this week, and they will be the most talked about 5-5 team in the league next week. So from that standpoint, he's great.
Oh,
but that's not a ringing endorsement.
No, it's not. Right. No, it's not. And it almost felt like this year was Dak Prescott. It became his team because we had the uncertainty in the preseason last year with Tony Romo, where he sort of inherited the job, and we didn't know how good he was, and then people are surprised at how good he was. Now we know how good he is, and it's become his team even more so now with Dak Prescott not being in there. Do you see this as it's more of a passing team, it's more Dak's team than it is a Zeke Elliott led team?
They're going to have to pass it a little more, but not a lot more. If they're throwing it a lot more, that's not going to work. I think Dak has decent receivers. I don't think he has great receivers. I don't think anybody puts Dez in the top 10 anymore of wide receivers. No. Witten's had a great career, but he's not top 7 or 8 tight ends at the moment. He has okay receivers. But first of all, they got to block the pass rush. You can't get sacked 8 times again. So I think they can run the ball better than they did Sunday against some of these defenses. But some of them they won't. And Sunday night they may not. The Eagles may just completely shut it down. And then they're stuck with just throwing it. And that could get ugly.
Tim, it's great to talk to you. And good luck with the next appearance on Around the Horn.
I got to go work on my hair.
Are you on today?
No, I just mean in kind of a general way.
Oh, okay.
Ready for the day. And I do 3 hours of local radio, but I like to do it with good hair.
Do you wear makeup?
Why wouldn't you?
Do you wear makeup when you do radio?
Not when I sleep. When I do radio, no.
Okay.
No, I do have, but here's the thing. I have makeup for Around the Horn that they sent me, and I go by from time to time. I don't really know how to put it on. And unlike Woody, I don't have somebody sitting there putting it on for me, putting a big towel, big thing over me, big sheet. applying it. So I do it myself. And about halfway through the show during the commercial, they'll go, Tim, spray the infield. And I just know that means do something with something. And I just pat some more makeup on and try to get through the show.
Well, they're using
There's a little secret.
They're spackling Woody, though. That's the difference, though.
Well, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot going on there. I'll give you that.
Thank you, Tim, for your insights. We appreciate it, and have a good rest of the afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
That's Tim Cowlishaw, Round the Horn, Dallas Morning News.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.